Hey, this is Christopher Johnson, Mr. CPA Diversity. Welcome back to CPA Diversity. Got a new video for you talking about something very important for those of you out there looking to take the CPA exam and become CPAs, and that is CPA Evolution. CPA Evolution is the joint effort between the AICPA, which is the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. And what they've done is come together and they do this periodically to evaluate the exam and how it's aligned to what CPAs in the profession need to know to make sure that they're effective in doing their jobs. What does it mean? CPA evolution means that the AICPA and NASBA is going to make some changes to the CPA exam so that way it's more reflective of the things that you need to know when you go out into the profession and work as a CPA. So there's a lot that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what they've done to change the CPA exam. We're going to talk about the specific things you need to know in order to make sure you prepare to pass the CPA exam with these changes, and what it means for you as a student or an educator or a professional working in the accounting profession and working as a CPA. Okay, so this website, the CPA Evolution website, you can find on evolutionofcpas.org, and it provides a wealth of information about CPA Evolution, the AICPA, and NASBA, and what they're doing in terms of CPA Evolution. What I like about this website is that it's got information about the CPA exam and the changes that are going to be coming under this CPA Evolution umbrella, and it talks about what it is, and it gives you a perspective of what you need to know, not only from somebody who wants to take the exam, but also as somebody who is an educator in the profession or professional out here working and advising businesses. The new CPA licensure model is here, so let's talk about this. The biggest thing that's going to be changing with the new CPA licensure model under CPA Evolution is that they are redesigning and reorganizing the CPA exam some. So what does that mean? In the past, you had to take 4 sections of the CPA exam, those being FAR, Financial Accounting and Reporting, AUD, which is Audit, REG, which is Regulation, and BEC, which was Business Environment Concepts. So they've broken these sections down so that we have 3 core sections, and then you've got now 3 disciplinary areas that or sections that you can choose one of the 3 to take in your CPA exam. So let's talk about that for a second. If you're familiar with the current version of the CPA exam, then you know that you have to take FAR, REG, Audit, and BEC. So when we say now in the new CPA exam, you're going to have your core sections of the CPA exam, those being FAR, Audit, and Regulation. So FAR is Financial Accounting and Reporting, Audit is Audit, and Reg is Regulation, which is really about business ethics, business law, and tax compliance. So you're still going to take those 3 sections of the CPA exam in the current version and in the future evolved version of the CPA exam. Now, the difference between the two is that currently you have to take a section called Business Environment Concepts, which is BEC. What the AICPA NASBA has done under CPA Evolution is removed essentially BEC and spread it across all the different sections of the CPA exam. So some of the concepts you had in BEC are now going to live in audit or live in reg or live in FAR sections of the exam. But what they've understood through their research, and they've talked to people who are working in the profession and students and other contributors to this CPA evolution, what they've learned is that CPAs need to have more comprehensive and deeper understanding of certain topics that are actually applicable to how business operates in the world. So those 3 sections that they've now created, which you're going to choose one of, instead of taking BEC, you're going to choose one of these 3 sections. And they are BAR, which is Business Analysis and Reporting, TCP, which is Tax Compliance and Planning, and then ISC, which is Information Systems and Controls. Okay, so if you're taking the exam under the new version of the CPA exam, and this new version is going to be effective in 2024. If you're taking the exam after January of 2024, you are going to take FAR, audit, regulation, and one of three choices that you have, which is either BAR, business analysis and reporting, TCP, which is tax compliance and planning, or ISC, which is information systems and controls. Now, one of the important things that you need to understand, and I think if you know anything about me personally as a CPA, I'm an advocate for information technology because I work in the space. But one of the things that they've identified through their research and how they need to change the CPA exam is that technology is very important for a CPA, for any accounting professional to understand in this world of business, because technology is literally driving everything that we're doing nowadays. So they have incorporated technology into every single section of the CPA exam. So what does that mean? That means even if you're taking financial accounting and reporting, or if you're taking audit, or if you choose to take BAR, which is business analysis and reporting, or TCP, which is tax compliance and planning, you're going to have some level of an understanding of how technology is impacting the profession within these specific areas. Now, the ISC, Information Systems and Control section, that section is heavily about IT and how you work as an IT professional as a CPA. So you're going to talk about IT infrastructure, computer applications, software development, secure information security, all those different topics. So if you take a look here, what you'll see is a nice diagram of what these changes to the CPA licensure and the CPA exam mean. So like I said, there's the core sections you're going to need to take: accounting, audit, and tax. Technology is going to be involved in all of these sections of the exam. But then you will have the option to choose one of three categories, which are going to be business analysis and reporting, information systems and controls, or tax compliance and planning. Once you've taken the core and passed one of these three, then you can get your CPA license, okay? So that is the main takeaway from the changes that are going to happen with the CPA exam in the future, which, like they are saying here, is expected to launch in 2024. So I encourage you to go to this website. They've got a lot of information about the changes. They've got a lot of information about commonly asked questions that give you more insight and understanding of what to be expected. So this is going to be important for any of you who are maybe in school now and deciding that you want to be a CPA, and understanding that you probably are some years out before you actually sit for the CPA exam. The new version of the CPA exam is the exam that you're going to be expecting to take. Now, for those of you who are currently sitting for the exam or will be sitting for the exam, let's say within the next year, they have what they call a transition policy, which is very important for you to understand. So let's navigate to that very quickly. So if you look in this section of the website for students and candidates, right, they give you a nice understanding of what it is, and I encourage you to watch this video. But they have a good presentation that gives you an overview of what to expect with the CPA Evolution. It's an hour long, so just put some time aside to just listen to it when you're doing something and you have the time to sit and listen. So here's what you need to know about the transition policy. There is the current version of the CPA exam, and then there will be the new version of the CPA exam. And those of you who are taking the CPA exam right now or within the next year will be taking the current version of the CPA exam. So that's BAR, regulation, audit, and BEC. Now, if you take and get credit received for any of those exams prior to the 2024 implementation of the new version of the CPA exam, you will not have to take any new versions of the exam for any credits that you've already received under the current version. But if for any reason one of your sections expires, because for those of you who don't know, you only have a certain amount of time after you pass your first section of the exam to complete all 4 sections. If any of those sections expire and you end up having to take that section in 2024, you will have to take it under the new version of the exam. So if you take FAR and FAR expires and you take it in 2024, you will be taking the new version of FAR. The same thing goes for regulation. The same thing goes for audit. Now for BEC, if you take BEC and you receive credit under the current version of the exam, and let's say it expires, what you're going to have to do is select one of those three, what they call disciplines. They call these new sections of the CPA exam, the TCP, BAR, and ISC, are disciplines. So that's kind of an area of focus that you'll have as a CPA. So if your section expires for BEC under the current version and you have to go take it in 2024, you will be expected to select one of the disciplines so that you can finish getting your credit for that exam. So it's a pretty simple structure to how they're doing the transition policy. If you're currently taking it and you pass all four, then you're just gonna have the same traditional way we've been doing it. But if you're taking it after 2024, you're gonna take the new exam. If you take some sections now, as long as you're taking them all prior to the new version, then you will be taking the current version. If you have any reason you need to take an exam in 2024, you're expected to take a new version of the CPA exam. Now, some other things that I wanted to point out about this website, which I think is going to be good for students and for educators, is this for accounting educators section. So the AICPA and NASBA have created this section so they can give resources to accounting educators about all the things that students are going to need to know in order to prepare for the new version of the CPA exam. So if you are an accounting educator, I encourage you to go here and do some research, reading. Some of the links here are really good for accounting educators. I like this one, the Faculty Hub, which links to the AICPA This Way to the CPA, which is something that is a really good resource for those of you who are trying to understand where you want to go with your CPA license. I will do a video about this specifically in another video, but this is also a very good resource for anyone who's looking to learn more about the CPA profession and understand more about CPA evolution and the things that are coming in terms of the CPA exam and what's expected of CPAs in the future. They also have another really good video here about CPA evolution, and they provide a lot of information about what accounting educators are going to need in order to make sure that their students are prepared and that they have a really good understanding of the changes that are expected to come. The last thing I'll cover about the CPA Evolution website is the CPA exam practice analysis section. And really this section just says that the AICPA and NASBA have worked together to do an evaluation of the things that are needed for CPAs in the world today. And they have boards and committees that work together to identify the changes that need to be made and create these initiatives like the CPA Evolution, just to make sure that CPAs like myself and future CPAs like you are always staying up to date on the things that we need to know to provide the best value in the marketplace as a certified public accountant. So one of the things that I like about this is that they published an exposure draft. So for those of you who are really interested in the exposure draft, what you'll see is that it'll take you to the AICPA's website and you can download a copy of this exposure draft. Now, what is the exposure draft? It's a comprehensive understanding of the CPA exam and the CPA Evolution licensure model. This is some really good reading for those of you who like to just sit down, grab some coffee and tea, and just get to know the ins and outs of the CPA Evolution model and the CPA exam and what the AICPA has done in order to make this evolution of the CPA license. Just spend some time reading. It gives you some background. It gives you a breakdown of what's expected for the changes of the CPA exam. And what I really like about it is that it will give you what they call the Uniform CPA Examination Blueprint. Now, this is an exposure draft, so it's not the final version of the blueprint, but my expectation is that the final blueprint will not be very different from what they have published in this draft. So what is the blueprint? The blueprint is the breakdown of what to expect on the new CPA exam. So for those of you that are studying, or for those of you that are educators, you might want to spend some time in here getting to understand what it is. What they do is they give you a breakdown of what's to be expected on every single section of the CPA exam. Now, this is not a study course where they're going to tell you the ins and outs of what you need to know in order to pass the exam, But what they do tell you is what's on the exam. They'll tell you how many hours are expected to take each section of the exam, how many multiple choice questions there are going to be, how many task-based simulations there are going to be, the different topics for different sections that's going to be on the exam. And overall, it's a lot of reading. But what I would tell you is this: if you're serious about taking the CPA exam, if you're serious about becoming a CPA, I would spend the time getting familiar with the things that they're discussing in this section, which is the appendix of the exposure draft, because it lists out all the different topics you're going to see when you're studying for the exam. It gives you an understanding of each section and what kind of CPA you might be interested in being, right? It's going to help you to determine which one of those disciplines that you want to select if you're somebody who's going to be taking the new CPA exam. And even if you're somebody who's taking the current version of CPA exam, reading this and understanding the differences in the different sections of the exam and the disciplines for the exam are going to help you understand what's expected of you, what you'll be getting out of studying for the exam and becoming a CPA. So it's definitely a big encouragement to read. You got to understand this stuff if you really want to have a shot at passing the CPA exam, because it's just some preliminary exposure to the things you're going to have to study and learn. All right. Like I said, and I've said this in the past, there's a lot to learn in the CPA exam, but you can do it. And when you walk out of the other side of this, you are going to be a well-rounded professional, okay? You're going to understand how businesses run. You're going to understand how to help people understand how to run their businesses. So I'll include a link to this exposure draft in this video link as well. So to wrap this up, I know it's a lot of information, and I know it seems a bit dry at times, but for those of you who are interested in becoming a CPA, you've got to understand where the CPA license is going. You've got to understand CPA Evolution, so that way you have a good grasp on the things that you need to make sure you understand and learn. And I'm sure the study material companies are all over this, and they're going to be changing their study material so that way you're prepared. So you still want to go get the study materials that you need, but it's also good to just do some research yourself to help make sure you're prepared. I'll be doing more videos around CPA Evolution. We'll be keeping up to date on what's happening. Like I said, this is going to be implemented in 2024, so we're still about a little over a year out from this actually being a new version of the CPA exam. But make sure you subscribe to the channel so that way you get all the updates and all the new feeds of what's happening. We're going to try our best to keep up on all the new things that are going to happen with the CPA Evolution. And as always, put the study time in. It's going to be worth it. You're going to be happy that you did it. You're going to be happy that you did it. There is some research in some of the videos here that I saw on the website about the money that's being earned as a CPA, which I think was in this students accounting for students and candidates section here. So I would encourage you to watch this. I heard that a junior, maybe a junior accountant is making somewhere to 60 to 90 grand nowadays, which is not terrible money. Not terrible money. So I'll watch this video as well. Just do some research and browsing around on this website, and continue to watch CPA Diversity, and I'll catch you on the next video.